Men of War number 5, written by Ivan Brandon, art by Tom Derenick. We left off last issue with Sergeant Rock being hit by a truck. He flips the truck, it goes underwater. He shoots the man who was driving it. The man looked like he's been dead for weeks. He goes back up to the surface. He gets lassoed around the neck by a very large man in silhouette, who then we see is able to speak English and says how they're American. I say all of that because that is how this issue opens. We get a full recap with full visuals doing all the same stuff again. I don't know why. It takes up 2 pages. Regardless, we then see what happens next. He's basically asking, like, all right, who did that? What's going on? And we see that it is a mercenary-looking group who are saying, like, all right, look, we're not going to hurt any of your team, but you got to do everything else we say. All right? Got it? And they say put up his hands. He puts up one of his hands. The other one, however, is holding a cooked grenade. So he's kind of keeping his fist closed on that. And they notice. So he's like, oh, he's got something in his hand. Put it down. Put it down. He's like, well, if you insist. And he throws it into the center of their group. Everyone freaks out as the explosion goes off. Sergeant Rock manages to get into the middle of it. He picks up 2 of the other guys' guns and holds it to their heads. One of them is like, look, the one who like lassoed him out of the water is like, look, we've got you surrounded and you don't want to see the rest of us. All right. And the other guy's like, I've been shot before. So Sergeant's like, all right, well, we're going to have to improvise here. So he pistol whips the one guy that he's got a handle on. He talks to the rest of his troop, and he's like, all right, you heard it. We're not alone out here. Let's keep this slow and simple. And immediately one of the guys is like, got it. Headed to higher ground. And Sergeant's like, no, you idiot, as he's shot multiple times throughout his body. We cut back to the dude. And by the way, he's got this big red X on his forehead for whatever reason. And he's like, look, that was stupid. What you guy there was really stupid, and he deserves to die. But I'm not going to kill him if you listen to everything we say, okay? We don't want to kill you Americans. We just need to do our thing here. And Sergeant Rock is like, all right, he says he's not going to kill him. I'll give him a chance. So they're all black-bagged, and they're brought somewhere in silence. And they show how they did surgery on, or at least they tell Sergeant Rock that they did surgery on the guy, they dug out a bullet, and they've got him stitched up, and he's recovering. And Sergeant Rock is like, I want to see my guy. And he's like, yeah, okay, well, someone else wants to see you first. And this dude comes out, and he makes a comment how the first guy who's been talking has an American accent, like down south American accent. But this dude who just comes out, he's pale white, just huge, like 8 foot minimum. And he's just totally like albino. And he's got some accent that no one can recognize. And he comments on how Sergeant Rock managed to kill one of their guys with just a pistol, who I think they're talking about the guy in the truck at the beginning who looks like he's been dead for like weeks. So I don't know if that's actually the guy, but regardless. Then a spy truck or a spy plane from the U.S., like a drone, is flying over top. And this guy just pulls out one of his guns and shoots it down out of the air. And he's like, look, I'm just going to skip half the foreshadowing here, but basically their reveal is that these guys are all essentially immortal soldiers from different wars. The one dude that he pistol whipped was from the Napoleonic Wars. The dude with the red X on his head is from the American Civil War, who was like a very well-known guy named Gravedigger. And then this guy who's pale and whatever is even older than them. I don't know. Whatever. Point being is that one of the soldiers is explaining all this to Sergeant Rock, and he's like, this is stupid and crazy. And the pale guy's like, no, you're stupid and crazy. We're not liars. We're telling you the truth. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So Sergeant Rock is playing along at the very least, but he wants to know, A, why they're there, and B, can he see the soldier that was healed up? And apparently they were hired to protect the ship from like 3 issues ago that Sergeant Rock and them were hired to destroy. So they're on the other side of this. Who they were hired by, they don't specifically say. But the guy's like, all right, look, I'm keeping you alive because I'm impressed by you. I'm impressed by your spirit and your valor and whatever else. So that's the only reason. And I will keep you out of harm's way as long as you're here. So he takes the guy who's from the Napoleonic Wars to go see the recovering soldier. And they just start like backhandedly insulting each other until finally Rock takes it too far, by saying like the Napoleonic guy's like, I've fought Napoleon and won, and we changed the face of the world on that day. And Sergeant Rock's like, well, I changed your face, so what does that make me? And the guy charges at him, and he hits hard, and he's super fast, so clearly he's got something going for him. But in the middle of the fight, Rock manages to break out of his restraints and pulls a pistol on him, and makes the comment of like, oh, how did you get out of there? And he's like, I'm from Brooklyn. And then we cut to black, and I don't know what happens next, but it was fun. This one, like last issue, was 100% action focused. Like that whole last bit with the truck, I thought that was extremely well done. This is more of the explanatory issue, and honestly, it didn't really feel that necessary to explain that much. They didn't explain that much. There's still a lot of mystery surrounding these guys, but it just, I don't know, this issue felt like kind of like an okay and sort of thing. Like, okay, these are the people who are in charge of stopping you from completing your mission, but like, okay, and I was more interested in them trying to find survival, like trying to make their way through enemy infested territory and make it out to an extraction point. But this is just kind of like, all right, well, now we're just taking this detour route with this other group, which can be fun. I'm not saying it's not, but right now I'm just still in the point like, all right, but what are we doing with these guys? Art wise, I liked it. I really like the way that they're making Sergeant Brock snarkier with these people. Like, he understands that he's able to take a lot of them on, or at least they're not willing to kill him, so he's able to say a lot more and do a lot more. So I like the way they wrote that. Otherwise, whatever for the actual plot reveal. Maybe it'll get something later on, but right now it's just like, all right, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 6.5. With all that said, nothing really more to add to justify that, but yeah, 6.5 feels pretty fair for this. The long recap at the beginning is a bit confusing, but hey, whatever. A writer will do a recap however he wants. Literally re-showing the same panels again, I guess, is one way to do it.